Hi, I'm Rusty Komori, and this is Beyond the Lines on ThinkTech Hawaii. Today is my 3 year anniversary of my Beyond the Lines TV show, and I want to sincerely thank all of you for consistently tuning in. And some of you might know that I was the head coach of the Punahou boys varsity tennis team for 22 years, and we were fortunate to win 22 consecutive state championships. My books, Beyond the Lines and Beyond the Game, are about leadership, character, and creating a superior culture of excellence, which is what this show is all about. My special guest today is the very popular and highly respected anchor of Hawaii News Now. He is Keahi Tucker, and today we are going beyond the news. Hey, Keahi, welcome to Beyond the Lines.
Hey, Rusty, aloha. Hey, thanks for having me. What a kind introduction. And I didn't know this is our anniversary show. This is a big deal, man. I'm honored. All right, terrific.
Well, you're a big deal, Keahi. I mean, you've been doing so many good things throughout your life. I mean, it is just it's an honor for me to have you on the show today. And I want to first of all ask you if you can share a bit about your background.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, most folks know I'm from Kauai, born and raised. And I was small kid time in Lihue. And then we moved to Kalaheo and I went to Waimea High School. And then I was off to UH Manoa for college. And then from there, some internships at the stations here before I moved to the mainland for 8 years. That's the short version. And then I came back after 8 years, and I've been here for 15 and counting.
So, when you're growing up, what kind of sports did you play?
Well, I was always a swimmer from a young age. And of course, all the neighborhood sports, basketball, soccer, and pickup games at the park. But really, I was a swimmer. My hair was bleach blonde from just blonde/green from all the hours in the pool. And that actually lasted through high school, and I swam at UH as well.
Nice. And Keahi, what was the first job that you ever had that you got paid money for?
Oh, yeah. So I really was craving some good food as a child because I was raised vegetarian. And I realized early on if I was going to get some good food in my body, I needed to make some money so I could ride my bike to 7-Eleven or McDonald's. And so I started mowing lawns and washing cars for my neighbors. But I guess you could say my first real job was delivering newspapers for the Garden Island newspaper because they were in my neighborhood actually. And so I could ride my bike, get my papers, and do my route. And my first job that taught me, responsibility. If I didn't deliver a newspaper, we'd get a call at my house later that night asking, "Where's the newspaper?" So that's the first official job.
No, and Keahi, I know all about mowing lawns and washing cars because I did the same thing. And I also know that you are a great surfer, right? You're a great surfer, Keahi.
Well, let me correct you. I am not a great surfer, but I do love surfing. Believe me, there are a lot of great surfers out there uh, that I am so jealous of. But every now and then I get lucky. I surf at Waikiki and Diamond Head a lot these days because it's close. But I swam all the way till I was in my early 20s, and then when I finally quit swimming and started surfing more, I was like, "Oh man, this is way more fun." I get to exercise and catch waves instead of just do flip turns all day long. And so I wish I had really spent my whole, time surfing, but the swimming was good for me too.
No, that's good to hear, Keahi. And you have such a beautiful family. And I heard that you're playing tennis with one of your sons now. Is that correct?
Yeah, my younger boy, Koji there, he's pretty good at tennis. We have a court by our place, and so we just would go and have fun and part around. And he got better and better. So he and I, all the rest of the family, went away, and he and I started playing together. And he just got better and better. So I was forced to keep up with him. And probably 2 or 3 years into it now, and we play every day off I have. And he is just destroying me. So, kids, they improve so quickly. So I'm really going to need to step it up. Um, I might actually need to take some lessons or something.
Well, Keahi, I might have to get you on the tennis court to give you some tips there to help you stay a little bit ahead of your son, right?
That'd probably help because most of my tennis knowledge comes from YouTube. And so the online tutorials only go so far.
Now, Keahi, what got you first interested in pursuing a career in TV broadcasting?
Well, in high school, you're at that phase where you're thinking, what am I going to do in my life? And what are my talents and capabilities? I liked writing. I didn't mind speaking in front of people. And I thought, well, I know Hawaii, where I want to live, has some decent TV stations. And so I went in that path. Um, I worked at KHON and KGMB during college, and I never wanted to leave. My whole plan was just to get a job and stay forever. Um, but as it is, I was at KGMB and I was on air twice a week actually, and I was pretty bad. And the news director said, "You need to go to the mainland." So I sent out demo tapes to 30 different TV stations on the mainland, and I got rejected 30 times. I could not get a job. And my news director finally said, "I'm going to hook you up with a job in Topeka, Kansas." So I flew to Topeka, Kansas with my duffel bag, and I got there and hey, I'm your new TV reporter at a place called KSNT. And it's, basically the opposite end of the world culturally from Hawaii, opposite end of the nation, I should say. Very different place. But obviously, I look like Topeka, Kansas, right? So I fit right in. Although people could sense that I spoke kind of weirdly with my local accent still hanging on. But it was a great experience. And then 6 months after I got there, the main anchor, who was this legend guy who'd been there for 20 years, quit. And there was no other male at the TV station. And they said, "You're the new main anchor." So at age 23, I found myself being the main anchor for the 6 and 10 o'clock news at this NBC station. Um, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, wow, this is real. I need to, try and step it up. But that's how I got my start. And then from there, I jumped to Washington, D.C. and Baltimore and some reporting in New York. And there was kind of a crossroads. 8 years into that, I actually was I had a moment where I could have gone to New York permanently. I interviewed with all the networks. I interviewed at CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN. They flew me to, all their places, Atlanta and New York, and I sat on the anchor desk and did a bunch of reads. And I was on the verge. I got an offer to be on the CBS morning show as a correspondent. And so before I accepted that job, I was, pretty freaked out about it. And there was a really big south swell, and I was on the East Coast, and I said, I'm taking off a week to go surf this south swell before I commit to this new life in New York and network news and being stressed out for the next 30 years. So I came home. I surfed threes. It was like 8 feet. It was amazing. Waves are so good. And while I was here, I decided to drop into my old station, KGMB, because they only had 2 female main anchors at the time. It was Kim Janala and Jade Moon. And I'm like, where are the men? So anyways, I dropped by. I talked to Rick Blangiardi. I said, I'm about to take this big time job in New York, but I noticed you guys don't have a male anchor here. What's going on? And he said, do you want the job? And all of a sudden, oh man, decisions. So I said, no, I'm not going to New York. I'm coming back to Hawaii. And we did it. And it was the best decision I've ever made.
Oh, I absolutely love hearing that story. And wow, you're so close to not being here, but I'm glad that you were here doing what you're doing now. And Keahi, you and Stephanie Lum make such a great team together. What is it about Stephanie that you like?
Oh, thanks for asking. To be honest, Stephanie Lum and I were kind of put into an arranged marriage, if you will, when our stations combined more than 10 years ago, 11 years ago. It wasn't our decision. They said, we're merging and the two of you are together now. And frankly, we're kind of different different types of people. Um, but over the years, I've come to respect her so much. She has an incredible work ethic. She really is just tireless and passionate about the work. And despite looking amazing on TV every night, there's a workhorse behind the scenes. She cares a lot about the news. She contributes a lot. She brings a lot of stories in. She knows a lot of people, and she has all the know-how of years and years of being on air. And there's a lot of little things you learn about being in front of a camera for so long. To be able to work with someone like that, we finally, not finally, but over the years, kind of developed a pretty good system of working together and the flow of things. And I've always appreciated that she appeals to a different sort of viewer than I do. Frankly, a lot of the people who like her might not care so much for me and vice versa. But together, I think we bring people together with the different sensibilities from Hawaii's spectrum of people, and they see a little bit of a local girl and a little bit of a Howley guy who's also from here, and it all works for us at least. And I hope the viewers see that.
Oh, I totally see it as well. I mean, you guys make such a great team together, but you also make a great team with Mahealani Richardson, and she's been in the news for a while. And what do you like about Mahealani?
Oh, Mahealani's terrific as well, and in different ways from Steph. I mean, she's got all the years of experience and the know-how of show business and all that. She brings just a wealth of connections and knowledge about Hawaiian issues and her background at Kamehameha schools. She also has just a wonderful, wonderful personality to work with, and she's very easygoing, and she's not too hard on herself as far as being super serious about the work and making mistakes and things like that. She laughs it off pretty easily, and so she's just a joy to work with. An easy person in life. I've come to appreciate over the years, whether they're in your family or work or whatnot. Easy people are my kind of people.
Oh, I like those kind of people too, Keahi. Easy
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Now, Keahi, you guys have such a great team together at Hawaii News Now, and it seems like you guys have such a great culture of excellence. And I know you are someone that, I mean, you have a superior culture of excellence for yourself as well. Talk to me about why you guys are successful as a team together.
Well, I guess it's a plant that's been growing for quite a while, or maybe a garden is more of the correct term. But the garden was, I think, sowed by our former general manager Rick Blangiardi, because in the beginning there was Rick, and he brought people to the organization who were really passionate. Um, and then he weeded out as well over the years people who were not as passionate or driven. And so what you have is a collection of people who are really interested in doing the same thing, which is producing excellent news every day and really being aggressive as far as putting out the latest information, the most correct information. And so that's what we do all day, every day, is we're just pushing it to our newscasts and trying to make those newscasts as sharp as we can. Um, but as far as this team approach, uh, that's exactly what it is. It's difficult to put on a newscast. It takes a lot of people doing a lot of different jobs, and if anybody along the way messes up, it all falls apart. You have what we call a train wreck, and so you have to trust that every single person in that machine is doing their job and doing it well, for it to come across on air. And in those rare moments, you have an excellent newscast. To the viewer, it's just another day, but gosh, it's a triumph for us in a way. Every single day is a triumph of a million things going correctly, not just from the people speaking the news, but from the tech crew making sure all the machines are working properly. And believe me, there's a million machines that can break every single day in the TV apparatus. And then you got the production crew, the producers that gather and put together all the news, the editors, and all the correct pictures you need, and the bosses trying to make sure this we're getting the right people involved and telling the stories fairly and fully. So many elements. And so our team, we've assembled some really talented people, but trust. Trust is just the biggest thing, that people can count on each other. And when you say you're going to do the job, you actually do it and get it done. And when someone says to me, this is the fact that goes in the story, that I believe them, and I will say it knowing 100% that they have done their duty to double check that, and that I don't have to go and make another phone call to double check what they told me. Uh, and so it's a good feeling. You have this synergy when it all works, and I think we have that at the moment. It's not something you take for granted. You can lose it, but we've worked a long time to get it, and I'm proud of it. I enjoy it.
No, it's really great to hear those insights because, yeah, it's about a culture of excellence. And I talk about that in my books. And you're right about having, the right executing in front of the camera as well as behind the camera. And Keahi, what stood out to you in my book?
Well, Rusty, your books are great, and I mean the fact that you won so many championships at Punahou is a real testament that you've kind of got it figured out. The whole idea of not managing people, but guiding them, is something that really resonates with me, and also something that I think about a lot in parenting, because the whole process of parenting, of course, is this learning, this discovery of who you are and how things work, for me at least. And I assume most parents out there, it's a trial and error thing, right? I started it thinking this is how you be a good parent, and then realized along the way, whoa, I need to adjust because this isn't working great with my kids, and use my own instinct. And so along the way, I've developed a sort of parenting philosophy of guiding and not managing, which is what you talk about in your book. And so I'm a big believer in that. And the idea of letting your players kind of develop themselves and their character along the way, and give them the power to do that on their own, instead of being, this kind of, you're going to do this my way, you're going to be this kind of player or person. I just don't think that works for anybody.
Oh, you're so right. I like hearing that, Keahi, because parents are coaches, and I talk about that in chapter 2 in my second book. And I like that you mention about it's about guiding them, and that's so true whether you're in business or sports. And Keahi, earlier you mentioned your former general manager Rick Blangiardi and our current mayor. What are some things that made him a great leader?
Oh yeah, Rick. A lot has been said about Rick being a great leader, and he really is. So he was in my life for about 15 years. He brought me back, took a chance on me when I was 31. I'm so grateful to him for that. What I've always liked about him is he's a very good communicator and very straightforward and upfront, and he appreciates people. And he's not afraid to tell you he appreciates you, and what he likes about you, and what you also need to work on to improve. But he has a way of speaking and a way of connecting, I think, that's fatherly, and he just makes you want to do better, to show him that you can do it. And it's a subtle thing, to have a boss challenge you to do better without menacing or being a threatening type of boss. And he really never was, to me at least. he was he was an encouraging and supportive boss, and he also, was very much the man in charge at our TV stations for all those years, and he would make the decisions and he would stand by them, and you just knew that as long as he was in that office upstairs, everything was going to be all right. He was going to figure things out, um, and that whatever issues you had were on his agenda, he would take them seriously and deal with them. And so it was a good feeling of knowing he's got your back.
Oh, and Keahi, and now you have Katie Pickman as the general manager. What are some things that you like about Katie's leadership?
Well, bless her heart, Katie, of course, has some big shoes to fill, right? And so everybody at our station was thinking, well, what's this going to be like? And she's actually a very different type of person from Rick, um, whereas he was kind of a man in charge kind of guy, tough Boston presence. She's very motherly, and I really like it. It's been a really wonderful experience so far. She's only been there in that position, I think, I don't know, even a year, maybe a year or so now. But in that time, I've really enjoyed um, how she's handled things, especially throughout COVID, really just caring about all the employees and our well being and communicating very well. She's more of a communicator than Rick was in terms of letting us all know what's going on with the station and her and a cheerleader. And she also, of course, has a real talent for sales. She came from the sales side, and that gives us all great confidence that we're going to keep paying the bills. And she has a tough job dealing with corporate, our main landowners, and making sure we can keep operating where we are with the staff we have and the tools we have, because it's any any corporate company is always looking at their bottom line. So bless her heart, she's dealing with that, and I think she's doing a great job.
No, it really looks like she is. And Kiahi, you were there reporting at the anchor desk when the actually in person when the Hokulea came back for the homecoming. What was really special about that homecoming of the Hokulea that you experienced?
Oh man, well that was just such an incredible story. I was blessed to be on a boat that morning when the Hokulea came in from East Oahu, and it came across Diamond Head and Waikiki all the way into the Alawai Harbor there at Magic Island. And so I escorted the Hokulea with all the other boats that were coming alongside it. And whew, what a moment. Uh, it was a feeling of such joy and pride and achievement, right? After these years traveling the world, to be home in those waters where it all began, with all of it seemed like all of Hawaii there at Magic Island and surrounding. Just, oh man, I I'm getting chicken skin just thinking about it. But you have to think about it in the context of what the Hokulea had been through for 40 years before that, right? All of the struggles over the decades of keeping it alive and growing the organization, but also the world tour. I mean, the rough seas that ship had been through Africa and the different oceans of the world. I mean, giant stormy conditions, and these men and women hanging on for dear life in some situations, and to make it back to Oahu, coming through Waikiki, the most beautiful coastline in the world with this crystal clear blue water. And I was reporting live, just yelling, "What a moment! What This is it! Hokulea is home!" And everybody just we nobody could stop smiling. It's so wonderful for everybody involved with that crew, and the memories are so fresh. I know one of the great highlights of my life and my reporting career for sure.
No, and you're right. I was watching you doing that broadcast, and yeah, I mean, I felt so much pride. I mean, it was such a historical occasion. And Yahi, I just recently learned that you are an amazing artist. And what are some things that you like to paint?
Oh, thanks, Rusty. That's once again too kind of you. Not really an amazing artist, but I managed to fake a few portraits enough to, I'm really proud of this one. That's my neighbor Henrietta. I worked at it for a few months. My son, who got me into tennis, also got me into painting because, well, he started painting for class, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we both sat down and started painting, and some of my early ones are just awful. This is an unfinished piece I shared with you. It's supposed to be at dusk, and so the lights are on inside the house. I still need to draw the window panes and all that. And that was a real tough one. I'm still working on that one. But we got into art and we started just churning out art. We were so into it, having fun painting together. We turned our house into a museum. Just every wall is covered in art. And I just kept at it. And then I realized it was so fun. I would do it after work at night. I come home and that's kind of my wind down to sit there and drink some chocolate milk and paint for an hour and get tired and go to bed. So just kept at it. And I realized, I really do think anybody can do art. It's just a matter of spending the time and keep at it, and you get into the details and draw finer and finer details, and then it starts to look like something. And that feeling of creation when you're like, wow, I actually made that, and it sort of looks cool. It's a great feeling. And so everybody should go try it out.
Well, Kiahi, I am impressed with your skills as an artist, and I want to ask you one more question, Kiahi, before we wrap up. How do you define greatness?
Oh yeah, yeah. How do I define greatness? What a question. Well, obviously it's better than good, right? And a lot of people can be good out there. Um, but a few people are great. Few people are great. And the times I've been speaking to graduation classes or anything like that, for years I've always said, okay, everybody, work hard. That's what you got to do. You work hard and be persistent. Don't give up, and you'll get to where you're going. And that is good advice. I recently have been writing a book about my neighbor who I discovered is the father of high speed trading on Wall Street. He's an historical figure. And I asked him just the other day for this book I'm writing, what do you tell people when you're giving speeches and whatnot? And he said, and I was surprised by this, he said, number one, be lucky. He said, Napoleon always liked lucky generals. And I forget his number two, but the number one stood out to me. It's true. You do need to be a little lucky. It helps, have a little something on your side, that indescribable thing that helps you along the way. But if you take those two things, right, hard work and luck, and then you add in some type of talent, I think those are the ingredients for greatness. Now, not everybody can take those ingredients and produce greatness, which is why it's a rare thing. But if you have those three things and you can put them together, and you have that passion that comes with the talent, and you keep going, that's, I think, where you get greatness. And I see greatness all around me in different ways. I see greatness in my friends out at Queens who can nose ride every single wave and make it look so easy. I see greatness in my friends at work who are just so passionate about their work and they get no credit whatsoever. My hardworking producers who are just pounding away at their typewriters, and nobody even knows how much they're putting into it, and stressing out every day to make us look good on TV. I see greatness in my kids and in our community, the children at their school who do amazing things, and their parents are cheering them on along the way. It's everywhere. Rusty, I see greatness in you. I mean, not only did you write 2 books and all of your coaching success, but you have it all out on the internet, and you're doing this show and you're keeping it going. I mean, you don't have to. You've done enough. You can just say, I'm done. I'm going to go play tennis and relax, but you're still doing it. And that's terrific, man. So that's another kind of greatness, and I appreciate you keeping it going.
Well, you're too kind, Keahi, and I like hearing those insights. And Keahi, I see greatness in you, and thank you for doing what you do on the anchor desk all these years. And I really want to thank you for taking time to be on the show today.
Oh, my pleasure, man. It's been a love fest here, and I hope for the people who actually make it to the end, they appreciate you, Rusty, and thanks so much to the people still watching. I appreciate your support, and forgive me when I make mistakes, and thank you for just giving me the opportunity to do what I love, and hopefully I can keep doing it for a while.
Thank you, Keahi. And thank you for watching Beyond the Lines on ThinkTech Hawaii. For more information, please visit rustykomori.com, and my books are available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I hope that Keahi and I will inspire you to create your own superior culture of excellence and to find your greatness and help others find theirs. Aloha.